Oh, Roddy snuck in while I wasn't even looking. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining another episode of the Scalable Multiplayer Game Design live stream. Today, we are joined by the usual cadre of Jared Sprague. Hi. Roddy Kieley.
Hey, folks.
And we've also got Jafar today. He's going to be off camera because he's got child duty in the background going on. But we're kind of switching gears a little bit away from some of the low-level C and C++ and game design stuff, and pivoting to kind of try and do some things directly on OpenShift. And so what we're going to try and do today is actually get the application built, both the game server and the web client, and then maybe deploy the broker and do a couple other things. So thanks again for joining, and I guess we'll get rolling here. What I should probably do is move some things around on my desktop so that we are keeping the good things good and the bad things away. Okay, one more thing. I don't need this. Okay, great. So if I try to share my screen, let's see, I want desktop 2 share. Can y'all see my OpenShifty console? Yes, Jerry gives me a thumbs up. Okay, so Roddy and Jafar had done a little bit of pre-work behind the scenes to figure out how to get the game server built and deployed using OpenShift pipelines. And in this environment, I actually don't even have pipelines installed. So Jafar, if I remember correctly, I need to go to Operator Hub and just install the pipelines operator.
Yep, that's correct.
And so Operator Hub, for those who may not have seen it before, this is kind of our convenient user interface into a catalog and marketplace of certified and community operators. And if you don't remember, an operator is just a piece of software that is a Kubernetes control loop that sort of makes sure that something is running in a Kubernetes environment as you define it. In the case of OpenShift pipelines, this is a operator that provides the OpenShift pipelines feature, which is based on the upstream Tekton community project. And so installing this operator is going to add the Tekton features into this OpenShift environment. So I will go ahead and click the install button here. I guess I want stable. We want pipelines to be available everywhere. Approval strategy has to do with when or how the operator gets updated, if there are updates available. And here's all the APIs that are provided by it. Unsurprisingly, the pipelines operator provides a pipeline object or API endpoint. So we click install, and what's happening under the covers is Operator Lifecycle Manager is potentially creating a namespace, and it is deploying the operator into that namespace and adding some artifacts into that namespace. And so let's see, OC get project grep pipe. I'm using a pipe to pipe into grep to look for a pipe. Interesting. OpenShift. Does it not create a pipelines project? Does it just put it in the Red Hat operators? Jafar? OC get pod dash a grep Tekton. Bunch of pipelines. Weird. Okay. OC project OpenShift pipelines. Oop, I definitely need to turn off.
Yeah, sorry, Eric, what was the question?
Oh, I was asking about the project where pipelines lands, but I guess I was just a little too early. OC get pod. In the pipelines project, we see there's an operator, and then there's the pipelines controller and the pipelines webhook, which I guess is an admission controller or something like that. And now if we hard refresh the OpenShift user interface, we actually pick up this new pipelines tab, which lets us look at the pipeline objects in our various projects and other stuff. So this is where Jafar and Roddy, where did you put any of the pipeline objects in a repo anywhere? Like the pipeline definition or anything like that?
So far as I'm aware, I think Jafar still has them locally. You may need to push them up.
Yeah, so Eric, actually, it's gonna be a bit even easier than that if it works. So
famous last words, if it works.
Yeah, so you'll have to make a small change to your Docker file because if you look at the server, the way it's built, you are mounting the server, the source code as a volume when you are doing the build.
Yes.
Right? So the problem if you do that is that if you do a build within OpenShift, like a Dockerfile build, it's not gonna find the source code.
Yep.
So all you have to do is add a command line to the Docker file where you copy the current folder to your TMP/game server. Meaning
so just clone the repo into the right place.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at your code, you are doing TMP, you are referencing TMP/game server as the folder where the code is, right? No, wait. So if you just change the Docker file, and so at some point, and probably.
So we got to change this copy command to be a git clone.
No. Just add so it's weird because it's not the Docker file that I saw.
This is the Docker file.
Yeah, you notice the commentary there though. Of course, we have an open community project, so Derek pushed up a change an hour ago.
Okay.
So we'll need to modify on the fly here.
But either way, it's still basically doing the same thing. So the worker is going to be this temp SRT server source. And so I just need to get rid of this copy.
No, it's fine. If you leave it that way.
But how is this going to work that we're not mounting anything into source?
Because when you're going to do the git clone, so basically when you generate the pipeline, you're going to have 3 tasks. You're going to have the git fetch source code. Okay. And it's going to clone the code in the working there, like it's going to be in the code where it clones your source. Then if it's going to do the Docker build from that folder. So if you copy that the dot folder to /tmp game server, it's going to copy the whole git repo in there.
But we don't want dot, we want source. Actually, this should work then.
Yeah, if you want just source, but you need to, you can have just that, but I think you need other files like the, let me check the repo.
No.
Like what's in the root folder of the
stuff that we don't need. Because we're already copying CMake lists and the config file, and this, you know what? I think this actually is just going to work. So let's give it a try.
Well, actually, the CMake list is needed at some point in
it gets copied in. That's what I'm saying, man. I think I'm a couple steps ahead of you. So I think it's actually just going to work the way it is now.
Yeah, because that's not the Docker file that I saw yesterday.
I know. But this is the Docker file that we have now. So I think it's going to work.
So this one should work. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So create pipeline.
No. Just do a new app, like go to the dev console.
Go to the dev console. Let's go
to create a new project. Okay, then now do from Dockerfile.
Really? Oh, come on. Browser's not being fun. SRT game server. application name.
Yeah. So now the cool thing is that if you look at, you can add pipeline, but you are still on tech preview. You didn't upgrade to the latest OpenShift version. It's fine. It's
What?
fine. No, like the pipelines are still in tech preview in your cluster, but it's okay. Just so our watchers know, pipelines are now in GA, but it's basically just because the operator needs to be updated to another version, and then it's going to be GA.
But I installed the stable version.
Yeah, but I think you have to be on OpenShift 4.7 something or 4.6 something to have the tech preview.
Oh, the cluster needs to be on.
Yeah, on a specific.
Yeah, because I'm on 4.7.0.
Yeah.
I could upgrade to 4.7.13, which I will definitely not do. At least not during the thing. Anyway, okay, so pipeline, it's going to fetch, it's going to build, it's going to deploy.
Exactly.
We don't need a route to this application because it's not directly public. Oh, actually, we will need a route. But no, it's because it's UDP, so that it's going to get real ugly real fast. Because the game client talks. No, the game client talks to the broker.
I saw that the game.
Yeah. Anyway, so we don't need a route to the server. Great. Things and stuff. All right, pipeline.
Okay, so now if you check pipeline. The pipelines, what you can do now is like hit the edit, like actions edit pipeline. And now you can click on each task to see what it has created. So first thing you see that it has supplied some parameters. So the tasks are generic and it relies on some parameters that have been automatically filled by the console UI. So basically, it's going to use a git clone. Well, it's going to git clone the repo using whatever parameters you have defined in there. So like if you had a context here, it's going to be there. If you had a specific branch, it's going to be there, etc.
Cool. So here's where it did so I'm looking at the actual run of the pipeline, which is happening right now. This is where it does the clone. If I remember correctly, when we use pipelines, it gives us a PVC.
Yes. So
put some storage.
That's the workspace that you see there.
Yeah, so if I look in storage, persistent volume claims, we see this claim that got created in the SRT game folder. It's a gig in size by default. And so for each of the steps of the pipeline that get executed, this PVC is going to get attached into the container where that runs. If I go to the dev console here and look at the topology, oh, that's right. We don't see those.
Yeah. So click on just hover the build image that you see there.
In the topology.
Yeah, just hover over the two arrows that you see there on the left. So I think this was a cool addition that they added. Like you can see the status of your.
Yeah, I wanted to see the actual pod where the list of the pods where the things are happening.
Okay.
So what we see here is the game server is trying to be deployed and it's failing because we don't actually have an image yet. So the reason it's backing off from trying to pull the image is because it's failing to pull the image because there isn't an image because we're in the process of building the image. This is the build pod where the pipeline execution is happening, and you see there's 3 containers, and I guess each one of those containers is one of the phases.
Yeah, the steps. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we look at the we see there's some init containers that set things up, and then there's the actual steps of the pipeline: build, push, digest. Here's all the crazy volumes that get attached. Wow, there's a lot of volumes. Holy crap. So anyway, back to our pipeline. So here's the build, which hasn't exploded yet, so that's a good sign. So it's using Fedora 33. It's installing a bunch of packages, blah, blah, blah. That takes forever. Looks like the package build stuff was successful. Sorry, package install, which is good. Oh, then it does more package installs. Jeez. Man, why doesn't everybody use C and C++? This is like so easy.
Huh.
Oh, looks like we got Derek.
Yeah, I'm munching down on breakfast here. Otherwise, I'd have my camera on and be talking more.
Breakfast. It's 2 p.m. Eastern. Where are you that you're eating breakfast?
Seattle, man.
Oh, geez.
It's a late breakfast, but it was a busy
True.
morning.
It's like brunch. Brunchish. So we're just watching software install. Thanks for joining, Derek.
Yeah, absolutely. I got it running locally, so I'm looking forward to syncing up with y'all on it.
Yeah, we
Soon to be dinner time, so we're.
that's true. Yeah, Jafar's in France. This is like a real global project right now. Look at that. Perl. Why do we need Perl? Jeez, everything has Perl in it somewhere, sadly. Nothing like spending 6 hours debugging Perl and only to realize that you forgot the @ sign in front of a variable. So did we lose Roddy and Derek? No, we lost.
Still here.
Oh, turn your camera off.
I'm her with my mouth full.
All right, so this is sort of a good sign. CMake is doing its thing.
All the source appears to be there.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't explode. Look at that. Oh, no, might still explode. So it is building the C code
Yeah.
now, which is cool.
Yeah, so if it gets to this step, then that means everything is fine.
Yeah, so this means the code was successfully injected into the container.
Correct.
Roddy's back.
So who made those changes overnight?
I think the commit log pointed to Derek.
Nice.
Browser exploded.
What did I do?
There was a
You
that
changed
went
the
in there.
Docker file, but it actually was not bad. It fixed the problem that we were going to have, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
This is probably going to crash my browser again. There's so many lines of logs. Actually, I'm going to do something different here. Let's go.
yeah, a
back
pass to minimize the dependencies may not go astray.
What's wrong?
Oh, that's annoying. Is there a way to view the pipeline logs from the command line?
Yeah, you have to say what container you want.
That's boring. That's not what I wanted, but that's okay.
That's boring and efficient.
Well, it's not. Uh-oh, fatal error. Killed signal terminated program CC1 plus.
Oops.
Error. I wonder
Did
what
it run
that
out of memory?
means.
Do we also get to blame this one on me?
No. How much memory does it need?
I do not know.
All right, let's see. So that got deployed on node 133, 120. 133, 120, OC describe node. I mean, it's only using about 8 gigs and it has 16. So
Yeah,
it should
I
have
can't see
8
it
gigs of
using more than
memory
that. There's no way.
available. Here we go. It did get OOM killed.
Wow. So what are the configuration settings for the pod? Or
So-
tries
so
to do the build I want.
I have to say that I had 64 gigs nodes, so I didn't get that error.
Yeah, and I have a 32. All right, so this node has what? Oh no, that's the wrong thing that I was looking at. No, these nodes have 64 gigs.
So by default, are the pod settings where the build is being done, are they set for best effort resources or guaranteed? Does anyone know?
Hang on one sec. 64 gig allocatable capacity. 64 gig. How many pods actually are there? Mongo front end, log generator, oh, I've got Elasticsearch running here. Shit. All right, let me add another node here. Okay, so I'm gonna add some more nodes to my cluster so that hopefully I have space to run this workload, because I'm sure Elasticsearch is being a hog and eating all my RAM. I guess I could kill logging, but that's less fun. Jared, have you made any progress? Or do we want to just do it live?
I'm actually, yeah, I'm having to refactor some stuff, but yeah, I made progress. Yeah, I'm making progress. I mean, it's not ready yet, but we could do it live. If you want.
Sure. I don't see why.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
Do you have other like stuff on the stream agenda that you want to keep going over?
No, I guess I could deploy the broker because we're gonna need that. So let's go to operators, operator hub, Roddy. What do I want here? Do I want
Is there AMQ?
AMQ broker,
Yeah,
or do I
so
want
try-
AMQ broker, or do I want AMQ broker?
Yeah, so one of these is based on RHEL 7, which would maybe be the one on the left, and one is based on RHEL 8.
All right, let's look at them both in new tabs and see
And
what
if
we
you
get.
look, if you drill down in the versioning of the cluster service version file, you'll see one is denoted with RHEL 7 and one is denoted with, no, one's denoted with RHEL 8 and the other's not, doesn't have a RHEL specifier.
Operator hub.
So in actual fact, we just have a release in the works at the moment that makes those operator hub panels more descriptive, because for exactly this reason.
Got it. 781 OPR3. They
Yep,
both
if
say
you-
the same thing.
So if you scroll down on the left, I think it's this further detail. right
Container
there, so
image.
that's-
Aha.
so that's the RHEL 8
AMQ7, RHEL
variant.
8, AMQ7, RHEL 7. Which one do I want?
So what are your nodes running?
Oh, that's a good question. They're running OpenShift 4.7.
Okay, are they running them on RHEL 7 or RHEL 8?
They're running them on OpenShift 4.7 because it's not RHEL, it's CoreOS.
Right, but
And I
CoreOS, yeah, it's at the core of CoreOS at the moment. There's still RHEL.
Yeah, but it's like, I think we transitioned to RHEL 8 when we
I think we did.
in the 4.6 or 4.5 timeframe. So let's go with the RHEL 8 one.
Okay.
So we don't want that one. We want
So a neat thing about
this
the RHEL 8 one is that it is actually truly multi-arch, in that it also supports folks on S390X and PowerPC architectures.
cool. I'm assuming I want to put it in the namespace with our game. I guess I could put it
Yes.
anywhere, but
But
for now, I'll
it's
put it.
easier to put it in the same namespace.
Oh, is it not a cluster-wide operator
It is
today?
not today.
Got it.
It will be relatively soon.
Got it.
It
So,
won't be
so
the
for those who are
upcoming release.
still, yeah, for those who are still paying attention, what that means is that when I say a cluster wide, there would be one instance of the operator pod running in its own namespace, say AMQ broker operator or something like that. And it would pay attention to all CRDs, all broker related CRDs in the cluster anywhere. And if a user creates an instance in their own namespace, the single operator would handle that. Today, it's a single namespaced operator. So we end up deploying the operator into our namespace, and it only pays attention to CRs in our namespace. Is that
Right.
fair to say,
That is
Mr. Roddy?
fair. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got our broker. We get some provided APIs from the broker. We get, from the operator. We get a broker. We get a broker address, and we get a broker scale down which I actually don't know what
Controller.
that is, but I'm assuming I need to just create an instance of the broker.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, there's broker deployments, which is the AMQ broker CRD. There are broker addresses so that people can define their queues and topics in AMQ addresses, AMQP addresses that they want to deploy across their broker cluster. And there is a scale down controller. So the architecture of the operator is such that there's actually 3 independent controllers inside the operator, one for each CRD.
Makes sense.
The scale down controller in particular watches just for pod discrepancies to see whether or not the size you have specified matches the number of pods. And when there's a discrepancy, it starts up, and if configured to do so, it'll go get your messages from the pod that just scaled down and move those messages to somewhere that's still available so that your clients still have access to the messages.
If I remember correctly, we need to add an acceptor.
Yes.
Do we care what port?
Protocols, yes.
I think port is 5672 or something like that.
Yeah, so 5672 is your default AMQP port. So the enabled protocols, you want to put AMQP in there.
There's nothing to.
Down below, there's another one. I'm not sure why there's 2 in this case.
There's another one down below. Down below where?
Where? I don't know, I saw it when you were scrolling through there. There should be.
Enabled protocols?
Yeah,
AMQP?
right there. So
That may be an artifact of the way the operator hub UI, sorry,
Is
the
defined.
operator UI handles stuff. So like you may not have a way to check boxes or something like that.
right. And these are all done with these X descriptor flags in the YAML file,
In the
So when-
CRD itself.
in the CRD itself.
Yeah.
That's right. so-
Do we need a connector?
No,
Do we need an address settings? No.
no.
Console, we do want to expose the console. I don't care about SSL because we're super careless in dev.
An upgrade, you can leave that off.
Okay, so if I do something horrible here and switch to the YAML view, we should hopefully see what I just entered. So we've got the AMQP acceptor on 5672. We've got, oh, this is not right.
No, if that protocol's Boolean is correct. I'm gonna go check the CRD.
Deployment pattern size 1, no persistence, don't require logins, blah, blah,
So-
blah.
So just for the user and admin password, in the application, I think it was admin. Is it, does it need to be the same or it doesn't matter?
No, because the clients aren't connecting to as admins. They're just connecting to send messages. Well, we'll see what happens.
there is.
Create. Invalid value, Boolean. Must be of type string Boolean.
Yeah, so if we look at.
Oh, protocol
um,
says true on line 14.
Yeah, but the question is that because it needs to be a string?
Just,
I think it just needs to be a string with a quotes. Because true is a reserved word in YAML, I think.
I think the X descriptor may be wrong.
In the CRD.
No, in the, so the definition itself, if I can find the right window here to put it out to all the.
You know
Twitch
what?
channel.
I have a file for this somewhere. New window, open folder.
So in chat and in the
I've
Twitch
done
chat
this.
stream,
I've done this rodeo before. Red Hat, OpenShift.
I'm gonna take a look at the X descriptor. Because enable protocols, the description says common separated list of protocols used for. So this is
Client, old packages.
here's the
SSL.
issue. There's the enabled protocols is the comma separated list of protocols used for SSL communication. Meaning, I think that's the ciphers, whereas the protocols description, the protocols to enable for this acceptor type string. So this is from the CRD itself. And the protocols to enable for this acceptor would be a string like AMQP, comma, OpenWire, comma, stomp, etc. But you're right, we should have custom resource instances already which do this, and the examples also should tell you how to do this.
I know I have a folder for this stuff. Yes, okay, it's in the Ruby lobby. Totally in the wrong place, but here we go. So AMQ, that's the address. This is the events address. This is the operator subscription. Broker CR, here we go.
Right.
So yes, there we go.
Yeah, so it's the reverse. So protocols should be AMQP and the enabled protocol should be removed. But that still doesn't explain where the Boolean value comes from.
Actually, I'll just do this instead.
And the X descriptors actually come from the cluster service version file and are not in the CRD itself.
Oh, that's even weirder.
Because it's the cluster service version that basically encapsulates everything that is operator hub that makes it go, right?
Ta-da. Ooh. So now we should be getting a broker here. Topology. What?
You broke it.
As usual. I'm good at that. There we go. So here's the broker operator. Here's the actual broker. This is the stateful set for the broker. This is the broker pod coming up. Doing
We scroll
thing.
down.
That's
Hello,
it.
we should.
That's as far as it got so far.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so what we're looking for is like ePOL, acceptor, AMQP, or on port 5672 started.
Sweet. So we got our new nodes. Jafar, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here, but my son is bothering me actually. So
That's okay. Is there a
trying
way
to-
in the pipeline to specify memory request?
So what are you trying to achieve for a specific deployment or something?
No, for the build in the pipeline.
Oh, not that I know of. No.
No, that's not good. We need to figure out if that's a thing because we may end up with the same problem if we land on the same node. Let's look at the YAML for the pipeline.
So yeah, so you want to define resources for the build pod, right?
Yeah, so in the build task, it would be good if we could specify that the container should have a higher memory limit. Well, I guess it all runs in one pod, so really just that whole pod needs to have a bigger.
So what you can do if it works is if you have a node that you are confident it has enough resources, you can put a selector on the whole namespace on the whole project, and I think the build that happens in the project should happen on that node.
Yeah, let's see if Tecton supports what we want to do here. Tecton docs, memory. Really? They did an embedded Google search? That's really boring. I don't like to see ads when I get search results in their
Right.
own website for, for the docs. Come on. All right, let's see if our broker came up, which I think it did previously. Hey, look at that. Here's our broker. And Roddy was saying,
Scroll to your right there. One of those ePOL acceptors is what you want to look at. By default, you should have an ePOL acceptor on port 61616 that speaks the core protocol that enables brokers to be clustered together and to talk to each other. And in our case, we also additionally configured the AMQP acceptor on port 5672, which is the standard AMQP non-secured port.
cool, that means it might be working. And then
But
if we
we-
look in, what?
Eric, what if you define like a default limit range for the namespace? You put enough memory.
Maybe service. And so we have an SRT broker AMQP service,
Yep.
which exposes 5672, which is good. I don't think, oh, we should also have a route. And
looks
so we
like we
have
do.
an AMQP route, which exposes AMQP over HTTP, I guess.
And no, it exposes AMQP over TCP.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
So if you're coming from the outside world through a route, what you actually end up needing to do is configure full SSL. So
Oh,
that
yeah, that's right. We'll
basically
have
you
to
do
add
TLS
that.
pass through, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you do the termination at the edge, right?
Wasn't there, is there not a setting to tell it to do pass through?
There is not.
When you're setting up the acceptor or whatever? It doesn't really matter, but I'm just curious.
You should
Anyway,
make one of those.
we should make a what?
One of those settings.
One of those
Well,
settings.
the part of the issue is that in order to do pass through, you need SSL certificates, and the certificates need to be provided by the people. Either you need to provide them, or you need to have something like a cert manager operator which generates them for you, and then
Or you
links
just
in.
use the built-in crappy self-signed ones and call it a day.
Or you could, I suppose.
Hell
But then
yeah.
you're further
No,
ahead.
there's a way, I think, to change the enable pass-through redirect or edge termination or whatever. Let me
Hey, Roddy, you're getting stalked in chat.
No,
oh, is
I'm
that
missing the
Walid
chat there.
about asking him about Mina?
Yeah.
Oh, indeed.
Oh, really? I have a bash script that I used for deploying the arcade. And it had a bunch of steps. So
So
what
one
happens when you
thing-
have too much garbage?
Yeah.
You end up with lots of garbage. Where on earth is that script?
So that just as a note, the X descriptor in the OpenShift GUI is defined as we noted as a Boolean switch. And the matching entry in the CRD is actually a string, which as we saw in the custom resource instance Eric had up there in YAML, you needs to have AMQP in it. So the GUI is actually got a bug in it at the moment.
Ah, I broke something again.
You found a bug.
What
All
was
right,
that? Oh,
let's go report it.
Zorbio.
Yep,
This is
hang
a
on,
terrible
where's that one?
idea to do this grep right here, but whatever. I'll let it. I have like some bashy YAML stuff for how to modify the route to add the TLS pass through or whatever. I just need to find it. Ah, arcade SH. Look at that. Here we go. TLS termination edge. There we go. Exactly what I want. OC get routes. So we want to patch the broker route to use edge termination. That was a terrible idea. I don't know when I just did dash A. No, when I just did it again. Cool. So this might actually do something. It's doing nothing, but I think that's what it's supposed to do. Because we probably got like a weird upgrade request. Curl KLV HTTPS. I totally forgot a colon.
Forget the @ sign, forget the colon.
Ah, dude, it's terrible. So we got edge terminated and then nothing happened, but that's okay. Because I think the broker is basically like, I don't know what to do with your stupid HTTP.
Right,
And
exactly.
so it's just not doing anything. Is there, I can't remember. And then we had this problem once before where we were like, what's the crappiest way to try and connect to the broker to see if it's even working? And
Right.
like, I think we never figured it out.
So if you pop open the other route that was opened up, the console route, you can go to the console and then tell,
I can go to the console and tell what.
yeah, and tell what the status is. So the only question is if in the CR we defined admin and min or what the password is. Looks like we did. So in here now you can get the current status, right?
Which status do I want?
Well, you can look at the acceptors drop down on the left.
Acceptors.
And you've got the
AMQP.
AMQP and a scale down.
Yeah, but the question was like, how do I know that the edge termination TCP SNI stuff is working?
Well, it should be irrelevant from the point of view of the, oh yeah, it won't be because the client's going to run in our browser outside. Right, that's why we went down this before. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I just think we never
Yeah.
got to, well, I mean, I can do a really horrible hack job of a test. So new window, open
I don't recall what we
folder.
did before.
I'm just gonna open the game client and then change the config file to point to that route. Right, so we've got config.js. The broker endpoint is going to be the route, and it's 80, right? Or 80 443, I mean, because it's
Yeah,
edge
because it's
terminated.
secure. Yeah, that's right.
So that's going to be this.
Yeah, because I think the conclusion was because it's WebSocket traffic, it's already HTTP not equivalent quite, but it's already handled by the proxy.
Yeah, well, look, we got a player identity. It didn't barf and say that it couldn't connect. So I'm assuming we're
Right.
connected, unless we
So
haven't
you
tried to
can-
connect yet.
You can open up the broker console there and it should tell you whether or not there's a connection.
WebSocket failed, disconnected. But it doesn't say why, it just says failed, disconnected.
Yeah, Eric, so just check that the service that you created points to the correct port. Because by default,
It should. Broker AMQP service points to 5672. And then the route
yeah, the route.
points to SRT broker AMQP 0 service with edge TLS termination. Oh, it's WSS for secure. I think that's the ticket.
Reload.
Boom.
Look at that.
When in doubt, add more S's. It's like these, man. Just keep adding them until things work. V. Okay, cool. So
Isn't
we're
that the name of the
connected. If we
game?
look at the broker console, we should see a connection to that.
There you
We've got our
go.
client ID, rocking. Our build is still running, which is good. That
It
means
hasn't
it
been
hasn't.
killed.
Yeah, it means it hasn't died, which is always nice. I don't know why it's taking forever. Yeah, this is like annoying. There's probably a bug that's worth reporting here, but I need to try the latest version. Like I can't get to the end of the logs. Can I get logs on a pipeline run? That would be cool if that was like a OC logs.
It would be better to use the TKN client. It's much easier.
Really?
But
Really?
guess-
What do I want? What do I want? What do I do? You said be better. So.
Yeah,
here we go.
sorry, you're talking to me. Yeah, so do something like TKN pipeline logs or something like that.
There is no.
No, pipeline.
Boon?
TKN pipeline run logs. TKN pipeline run. Is there like a list? There is a list. List TKN pipeline run logs. So TKN is the Tecton command line client, which for some reason I have installed. I don't even remember. Yes, I know it's still running. It'd be great if you would show me the logs. Thanks. Not helpful. Stream live logs.
Yeah, that's F.
No, killed again.
Yeah.
This is not.
We got
really a
further
big
this time
project,
though. We got
right?
to 50%.
Yeah, so Eric, try what I mentioned about the limit range. Like if you create a
Well,
high,
let's read the docs first and then we'll try what you mentioned.
for Tecton, I'm pretty sure there's no way to specify like limits or whatever.
Well, we're gonna find out. Memory. The CPU memory and ephemeral storage request will be set to 0, or if specified, the minimum set through limit ranges in that namespace. Wah, 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 wah.
So basically define the limit range.
Okay.
Make sure that the
Kubernetes limit range. Limit ranges.
Eric, just use the create limit range from the admin console.
Oh, that's boring and
Yeah,
easy.
but
Why would I do the easy and boring thing?
I'm not even sure that it's gonna be.
Oh, SRT game core resource limits. Why does this exist?
Check that and maybe delete it. All right. So
container. Why do you exist? That's a good question.
So are you using so you're using an RHPDS?
Yeah, but I thought I ordered the workshop cluster, which I thought didn't have that feature enabled. So
yeah, so this should solve the issue.
Could be. All right, so now we will try TKN pipeline. Yeah, OM killed. Oh, this one says it's still running, which I don't believe.
So what?
Yeah, OM killed also. There we go. Okay, TKN pipeline list, TKN pipeline -h, TKN pipeline.
Yes, start. So you have
start. SRT game server. Value for param. Oh, why are you asking me questions? Just do it.
Just go back to the UI and do start last run.
Can I just keep hitting enter? I wanted to be cool and use the.
That's why the UI is much better, right?
I don't know why we build these UIs. Who wants to do stuff the easy way? That's just not.
So start. Yeah. Okay.
All right. TKN pipeline run list. TKN pipeline run logs F. All right. It's thinking. It's going. Okay. Jared, how you doing in the background there, buddy? World peace, all solved.
You had to run away from the keyboard for a few minutes, he said.
No, No hungry. Oh, damn. All right. Well, he's busy doing stuff. All right. So let's recap what we've done so far. So we have deployed the AMQ operator into our project.
And found a bug.
All right. So we've got the AMQ broker. We've got our, the operator. We deployed a broker. We've got a pipeline that's in the process of doing its thing. We modified the route for the broker to use TLS edge termination with the self-signed certificate from our router. And then we locally tested the game client, talking to the WSS, the secure WebSocket for the broker. So that's good. So we validated that the broker is doing what we want. We fixed our limit range that may have been causing us problems with our build and OOM. And so if we look at our build, we are busy installing packages. Jafar, do you know, so clearly, there's a PVC associated with this build and stuff. Hey, look at that. Woo!
Yeah.
97.
That's what we
That's
want to
exciting.
see.
100. Ah! We did it. Yay.
So what was the
Is it-
default memory limit here?
It wasn't the default. It was so the internal demo system that we use to provision the cluster. I think there is a admission controller that the demo system people set up for this particular catalog item
Okay.
that will automatically create a default limit range on a new namespace.
Mhm.
And so, for example, if I do
And Eric, just before something bad happens, maybe, can you check that the limit range has not been recreated? Because at some point there was an operator that was doing that. Like if you deleted just the limit range, the operator recreates it.
So yeah, okay, perfect. So I had created this demo app namespace earlier, not today, some other day. Oh, look, I can tell you exactly when it was created
June 7th.
on the 7th, which is not today. And we got this core resource limits thing. There's some like limit range controller webhook thing. Oh man, I'd have to ask them what it is. But anyway, when you create a new project as a regular user,
So is
or
it
really when you create any new project, it just gives you a default namespace. Oh, it's probably baked into the template.
Yeah,
OC.
take the project template, like the namespace template.
Yeah, okay, so here, OC get template project request -n OpenShift config -OYAML. And we get a limit range. So OpenShift has a concept of a project request. So if you use the default workflow of clicking new project in the user interface,
Mhm.
what actually is happening under the covers is it's doing this project request workflow, which says, hey, is this user allowed to create a project? Oh, they are, great. Use this template object and instantiate a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And what you see here is there's a default network policy. There is the actual project object. There's a bunch of role bindings and service accounts and other stuff. And so what the demo people did was they added this limit range to that template. And so you can see that the pod memory max is 12 gigs and the default request for a container, the default limit for a container is only 1.5 gigs, which is not very much.
Right.
So that would explain why we were getting blown up and OOM'd.
Now we know.
Hey, look at that.
Enough to change it.
SRT game server successfully rolled out. That's what I like to see.
All right, Autobots.
Autobots. Oh, cool. It's even got this OpenShift logo. I have no idea why. Now, the server's crashing, but I bet I know why. if we go look at the logs, what we'll see is it's trying to connect to Artemis Cloud, which doesn't actually exist. So what we need to do is inject a config file using config map into this. Go ahead, Jafar.
Eric, I think you can just change the environment variable like broker_URI.
Yeah.
Deployment.
That's so boring. Why?
It's gonna work.
Guys, you're just like,
That's too easy.
oh.
You know why?
Let's
Because
see,
I have to check, like,
deployment, environment. Do we actually pull it from?
Yeah, I
We
think
do
that was
pull
part
it
of the
from
update I made.
environment.
Let me look in the.
You know,
actual
when I
code.
got yelled at for updating the Docker file.
Yeah. You jerk. Application server, no configuration.
Broker
I
dash
think-
URI is passed as a
YAML.
Yeah,
CLI
so that's-
argument,
that's
and that
right.
comes from an environment variable.
Yeah, it's broker_URI, the environment variable.
Where's the, yeah, I'm just trying to find in the code where we pull the environment variable from the,
I think that
or is
was
that in the
it.
Docker file?
Yeah,
In the run?
yeah. So it's a command line argument, and the actual value of it comes from the environment
There it is.
variable in the Docker file.
Yeah, broker URI. Okay, so that broker URI happens to be the service in the project.
Yeah. So Eric, let's show a cool stuff just quickly.
Okay,
We don't have a shortcut to the services on the left UI, right?
Correct.
So go to the search on the left. Search. Yeah, now select resource services. Service, yeah. And now click add to navigation on the top right. And now you have a shortcut there.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Fun
Wow.
fact: when you first start
Yeah.
up a OpenShift like sandbox or whatever, it gives you a little tour, and that's like the first thing it walks you through.
No way. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah.
Today I learned, man. Holy crap. All right, so here's the service. The cool thing about OpenShift and services and internal and all that fun stuff is that you don't need fully qualified domain names because we set the end dots on the resolver. So we can just go broker, is it broker URI? Broker URI. We can set that to simply that. Oh, Roddy, do I need the TCP or do we do that? I don't think
You
I
would still, you don't need the TCP, I don't think. I think that would be the default if you didn't specify it.
But I think you need
Yeah.
the port.
But it may need the
possibly.
port.
Yeah, you need like a dash support.
Try it and see. TIAS. SRT game server, pod. Really? Why can I not click you? That's very annoying. Pods. Here's the new one. It has not exploded yet. Hey, look at that. Connected.
There you go.
So if I reload my web client, which I think is still running, I should actually, what? What?
3,000 is the port, I think.
Aha. Magic. Good job, Jafar. Glad somebody's paying attention. Join.
Yeah, I've only played with it.
Look, I have a spaceship.
And an
Hey,
ID.
Oh, God, and it's moving very quickly and doing weird things. It's moving. Oh, God. I think the default
Sleep cycle.
sleep cycle is really bizarre. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So
whatever,
but-
spaceship moves. We did it. So what did we do?
okay.
We did it in an hour. That's like a new record for achieving stuff on this stream. So what did we do?
I should join more often then.
doesn't Eric?
Uh-oh.
Latency issues.
Yeah, we have. The broker is eating all the bandwidth.
Yeah, I think so. You back, Eric?
I think so, maybe.
Yep, you are.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
Yes.
So I don't know what it is about like the game. My computer.
I don't think it lasted.
You're dying again.
He's probably explaining something about how the game destroys his computer every time he
Yeah.
runs it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We still have bandwidth issues.
It's not bandwidth.
It's CPU or memory or something.
load average.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's laptop CPU, probably.
Oof.
Well, so what happens is I have a crappy CPU GPU. Thanks Intel for nothing. And so no, I'm just kidding. It's not Intel's fault. And so when I'm running 2 displays and GNOME and all these other things and blah blah, when I run phaser games, especially, it just like heats up the CPU really bad. And then it basically goes to like thermal throttle. And so the processor speed will get throttled down to like 200 megahertz. And then the load average shoots through the roof. And then it's basically just like whatever the Linux scheduler decides is important at that moment, which usually isn't Zoom. So yeah, it takes a few moments for it to all come back. But I think I'm back.
I think so.
Okay. So in a new record for this stream, in about an hour, we actually got cool stuff working. And so to recap again, we have a pipeline that builds a C application from a Docker file that speaks AMQP over TCP to the broker. And we deployed the broker using the AMQP operator. So that's kind of cool. It's pretty vanilla, simple config, right? There's no redundancy, there's no persistence of the message queue, but it does work. And so now potentially, Jared, we could deploy the web client for the game.
Yes.
Actually, is there a way to change the server sleep cycle with an environment variable? I don't think so.
Sleep_cycle, I think.
Is it? It is. What's the default supposed to be? 15?
1500, which would be 1.5 seconds. So yeah, so 15 would be, or 16 would be 60 frames a second, essentially, what you're aiming for.
Okay, so I'm going to change that to 60.
Or 16.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, save. Pods, new one, logs, sleep cycle 16. There we go. Okay. Okay, Jared, yes, now I'm really ready for you, I promise.
All right. Perfect timing because I got it working like about 5 minutes ago. So had to change a bunch of stuff, but now we have a gulp build.
So what have you changed? Do you have a PR?
I just pushed a new branch up to the SRT
Okay.
web client repo called Gulp.
Gulp.
Gulp. Yes. Gulp.
Okay.
And
commit. Added a gulp build.
yes. So
So we've got a gulp file.
yeah. So I added a gulp file, added which basically adds like, you know, it's build tasks basically, like copying stuff to the dist directory, running Babel, running Babel and Browserify, which takes all of the like dependencies that are required in the JavaScript and builds them all, like package them all into a single JavaScript file that gets included
Got it.
at the top
Okay.
level. Does a bunch of magic. I had to refactor some stuff just to make it cleaner. Like I pushed all of everything was at the top level. I pushed it down to like all this JavaScript into a JS folder. And so at the top level, we have like assets, CSS, JS. And let's see, what else did I have to do? And then I had to go into each file pretty much, because before we were including everything globally by just using the script tag on the index.html file, and just every dependency, we would just import it in the global window scope. So all the JavaScript files had scope into everything. So since we're not doing that anymore, I have to require those dependencies directly in the files themselves. So if you look at one of the files, like look at like the AMQP client or the main scene or something. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you see where if I got protobuf equals require protobuf, and UUID 4 equals require UUID. Those didn't used to be there because you could see where they just used to be in the global scope because they were script tags in the HTML file.
Yeah. So now we're locally scoping them inside the locally stuff.
Yep. And then so what gulp and drop.
I can JavaScript. Listen to me.
So when you run the build, it looks at all of these required things and be like, okay, this is a dependency. I need to include this, and then it packages it all up together into one big file. So
cool. Okay. So now we just have to figure out how to actually build it.
Yeah. So if locally, like if you're doing this locally, there's some new npm targets now. There's build dev and build prod. Build.
Yep. Hang on.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. There you go. So we got build dev, build prod. Start by default runs build dev when you're just running it locally. And the only difference between build dev and build prod is build prod will include minified versions of the minified version of Phaser, which is like the unminified version of Phaser is huge, is giant. I bet. Yeah, so it makes it smaller. It also adds like a global like environment variable for prod. So if you want to switch on stuff in the code, if it's prod, you can reference that. But other than that, and then the other thing is the prod build will include source maps. So when you're needing to debug something in prod, even though like without a source map, you wouldn't be able to debug it because everything's just like C.1 to, it's like you can't, everything's obfuscated, right? But the source map lets you debug stuff even if it's minified. It's kind of weird how it works like that. So
makes sense.
Yeah, so those are the main changes.
Would we build so our node I don't think supports gulp, does it?
No, what would you
like our node builder?
The S2I node builder, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't
no.
think it does.
It does have a
let's figure it out. So software collections, Node.js. Node.js 12 software collections.
I don't even. It does have the node, the S2I of the node builder will run a npm build command, and whatever you put in there, it will do that.
Right, but if gulp's not there, would that work? Would npm install gulp or whatever?
No, it wouldn't. I mean, I guess I probably would. I'm just thinking, would we even want to use the node builder for this?
I don't think that if you are not going to use the output image of the S2I build, I don't think that.
Well, we would want to. That's the point.
Yeah, you don't want to use it, right?
What I think would be better is
it would be nice if we could do a regular S2I build such that the output of the node build was the functional web client, but we don't actually need Node, so that wouldn't be a Node build. It would actually be like a weird multi-stage
Yeah,
build. So hang on a second here. Yeah, there's no gulp in there.
So can you have gulp as a dependency in the package, and then it's installed?
yeah, if you do an npm install, like, and I think the S2I will do an npm install.
Yeah. So
It
if you
will be
add gulp-
there. The
Exactly.
question is like, when it like the difference between the building and the running, like it's gonna output the stuff to a dist directory, which is static HTML and JavaScript files. That doesn't need to run under Node.js. It just needs to run under Apache or something. So we could use the S2I builder of Node.js to build that dist directory, because it runs npm install and it runs an npm build, and we could make the default npm build.
Node.js.
Yeah.
And that's really the
actually-
way we should be doing it, honestly, is with those multi-stage builds. We're going to end
Yeah,
up much
assemble.
smaller and have better cacheability.
Yeah. So if we look at the node script for the S2I image. So for those who don't understand some of these acronyms, so source to image is a feature that OpenShift takes advantage of to build container images directly from source code. So instead of having to use a Docker file, you can basically just point it at your Git repo. And so right now I'm looking at Red Hat Software Collections provides a source to image container for Node.js. And the build process that gets invoked is this assemble script. And so I'm looking in the assemble script to see what happens. So we move the source, we do some permissionsy stuff, we do some npm configgy stuff. If it's dev mode, we set that to false. If node env is defined, we set node env. If it's production, we do an npm install. Otherwise, we do node env dev npm install, and then npm run build. So Jared, if we changed
Interesting.
our npm tasks to make the default behavior of build do the gulpy stuff,
Yes, it
that
will
should
run it.
work,
It will
right?
run it because it will npm. But it will what? Oh, it does npm. Yes, that's true. Yes, it will do that. Yeah.
That's what I
So
was thinking.
yeah, so
I mean,
if we
there
change
is
the task,
another option. We can actually overwrite this entire script in our repo.
Mhm.
And so the cool thing about source to image is if you have a bin assemble folder in your repo, it will ignore the assemble script that is baked in, and it'll just use yours. So we could actually tell it npm build or gulp, or like
Right.
npm install gulp, npm install, like we can make it do whatever we want, or we can just make a tweak to our npm config to take advantage of what it actually does, which is npm run build.
Yeah, I think that's obviously easier to just use what's out of the box. We can just change that, and we can add, actually, I'll just add a build. So they'll do a run
Do you
build.
want to share your screen, or do you want to
Sure.
tell me to do it and I'll do it?
I'll share
All
my
right, let me
screen.
stop my share. All right, you are up, sir.
Okay. You see my
Look
client?
at that. I do. Hang on a second.
It might be small, maybe.
No, you're good.
That's on a
Yeah, the text is a
4:3
little small, but
kind of
it's
window.
okay.
Yeah, it's all right. So all I really need to do is make a new build target in the npm, which will do an npm run build prod. I think that's what we want, because
That
and
might work.
build prod will run the gulp build production target. So
Right. And we
um,
do, and look, if I remember correctly, oh man, I lost my browser window. So many browser windows. Yeah, it'll do an npm install prior to. If it's then otherwise. Actually, so we're gonna. So here's the caveat, right?
Mhm.
If the node environment is not production, it will do an npm install. Otherwise, it will do what?
it'll do a development. So
If-
so what it's saying,
It'll
it
do
will
a
still do
development npm install.
which the which will have everything the regular npm install will have, but it'll also have all the dev dependencies like gulp and stuff.
Right.
So that's what you
Right,
want.
but the thing is so that's what we want. So we need to make sure that we set the node and we need to make sure that we don't set the node and that we set dev mode to true.
Yeah, we definitely want
our
to get into
build.
that conditional that does the dev and
So if you want to put it in dev mode, because it's not going to be in dev mode by default.
Right, we have to set that environment variable on the build.
Yeah, and I think the easiest way to do that is in the S2I environment file. Like,
Yes. Yep.
And just add
Wait, what?
dev mode, like in the S2I/environment file, like same as with the assemble, there's an S2I.environment that you can use to
I would assume that we would set that environment variable when we're going through the workflow for the build. No?
You mean with the pipeline?
Sure.
Yeah, but the thing is that with pipelines for the moment, you can't set environment variables for the tasks unless we do a hacky thing of like changing the default node task builder.
Oh, that doesn't sound fun. So what do we need to do? We need to put a file in the repo?
Yeah, like the .sty/environment. If it still works, it used to work like that. So just check the script and see if it loads a file, if it does a source on the environment file. Like
the assemble script does not do that.
Can you check the? Can you share the screen?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can stop sharing and then we could go back to the docs here.
Sure.
So the way it used to work is if you put a file called like the .sty and the name of the file was environment, whatever environment variables you put there get loaded in the build.
He doesn't seem to do that.
Let me see if
anymore. At least not directly in the assemble file. We probably have to look at
checking the bin file.
Well, bin. There is no bin file.
And check the usage.
It's just tells you the usage.
Yeah, but does it say no? Okay.
No. Yeah, what we need to do is look for the actual S2I.
Yeah, documentation.
Well, not really the documentation, but the script that invokes the assemble.
Okay, so okay, so this
S2I sets the environment. Here we go. S2I sets the environment variables from S2I environment optional.
Yeah, so
and then it says it starts the container and runs the script. So we just need to create what?
Yeah. So it should work. I mean, if it's still there. So yeah, just create a file called environment in that folder, and put dev_mode equal true, and it should work.
That makes sense, Jared.
Say it again.
So in our repo, we need a folder called .s2i.
Yep.
And in that folder should be a file called lowercase environment.
Yep.
And in that file should be dev_mode equals true.
But not with the $sign, just
correct. Yeah.
Right, just like setting in a variable. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I'll do
exactly.
that.
Yeah, that should be getting sourced somewhere.
Making
Question
sense.
is where.
And just at the root of the repo, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yes, the .s2i folder should be at the root of the.
Okay. Okay, I'm doing it right now.
Setting environment variables provided by environment file and sources. Yep. So it looks like that's still there. So you're gonna push that to your Gulpy
Yep,
branch?
I'm building it right now. It's dev
Building.
underscore mode equals true.
Oh, building the file. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I really hate my chair. It's not very comfortable.
It's all right. I'm pushing right now.
Push it. Doing it live.
Yep. All right, should be up now.
I'm looking at master, which clearly is never going to
Yeah.
work. Gulp. Hey, .s2i. Okay,
Yeah.
so now Jafar, I'm assuming we go to pipeline, create pipeline. No, you said go to add from source. From
So
Git.
are we using, from source?
Well, from Git, yeah.
So do you
Git
have a
repo
Docker file for that?
URL. What?
No, we don't use a Docker file, right? It's just S2I.
Builder image, it picked node. Oh, node 14, fancy. SRT game server. Nope, it is the SRT game client. Well, web client, SRT web client, resources deployment, add a pipeline, create a route. Yes, we definitely want a route. But we need to, okay, we're probably gonna have the same issue with needing to
So just
enable TLS.
one thing, for the deployment, are we going to be, no, we don't need to run it in dev mode because we're going to encompass it in an HTTPD server, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
Oh,
Yeah.
did
So this pipeline, I believe, is going to be useless because it's going to build a node image and deploy it. And I believe we want to run it in the HTTPD image. Is that what?
Yeah, sort of, right, that was,
yeah, this is all that's gonna do is build it in the dist folder. We still need to. I mean, what we could do though, like if we want to not use HTTPD is we could just run it under Express. Like we could use nodes built in HTTPD server, or we could use Express or just the like vanilla HTTPD server, like under node.
Well, so Jafar, once the build is theoretically complete, so the default pipeline is not going to be particularly useful, right? But we take the output of the node build and then shove that into the PVC for the pipeline, and then have another task that builds an HTTPD image and just copies the junk from the
workspace.
into
yeah correct. So you could use another step as an S2I HTTPD builder that points to the dist folder in the workspace. Or something like, like that.
So I know the I know that
it's doing a Docker build anyway. It looks like this is weird.
So the node S2I will at the end run npm start. We could just make the npm start, just start the node's HTTP server and just run it straight in one image.
Yeah, you could do node server.js or index or whatever.
Yeah, and then we don't have to run it under Apache. Like that gives you more power and flexibility and performance because you can decouple it from node and do like a bunch of whatever proxying and stuff you want to do with a full HTTP server. But But for this, I think it's fine. We can just run it straight out of Node.
Yeah, what I was suggesting is that if you just, instead of having the npm run dev as the npm start command, like just have a regular
Yeah.
npm start that uses.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The npm start could just like start a express or start nodes in
Node,
built in
yeah,
HTTP
just node.
server. Yeah.
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 So do you wanna make that change, Jared?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. And I didn't notice when you were building this, when you were creating this app, did you point it at the gulp branch?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, cool. Then let me go ahead and I will make npm start, just start a local HTTP server and run it out of dist, which should be all that we need.
Yeah, so it clearly did the npm install here because it was barfing about stuff that it did.
Yep, it definitely npm installed. Now I'm wondering if it did.
And it did deploy it, but I don't think it
Did it do
actually
the
is gonna
build?
do anything.
Yeah, I don't think it did
Yep.
the gulp stuff.
But did it run gulp?
I mean,
like in the logs, I would see the gulp, like if the gulp build itself.
Can you check if there's a Docker file on the root of the repo?
Well, you can see where it ran S2I assemble.
Don't see any logs of gulp getting run though.
Right, so if we look at the assemble script, let's go to 14, which is S2I 14, S2I bin assemble. So it said installing application source, right? We see that in the
Mhm.
log.
Mhm.
Installing application source, and then we see building your node application from source. So if we scroll down, we see building your node application from source. So somehow,
Oh, it went into the
even though-
production section. Yeah.
yeah, so it looks like we also, it says if node env is not set by the user, then node env is determined by whether the container is run in development mode. So if
Yeah.
node env is set, otherwise export. But this is the dumbest thing I've seen. So you have, not only do you have to set node env, you also have to set dev mode.
Yeah, because I only set dev
That's
mode in that
annoying.
environment file. I did not set node env.
Right, so node env is supposed to be, I guess, development,
Production or
or it
development?
doesn't even
Okay.
matter.
No,
It just has to be not production.
So I think node env is dev is dev, like
Doesn't matter. Look, we can look at the script, right? The only thing it checks for is
Oh.
whether or not node env is production.
no.
So
Actually, it's
if-
development, like it is there, like the export does.
What?
It needs to be like the export does. Actually, I didn't remember if it was dev or development, but we see the export value there.
Oh, sorry, I see, hang on a second. So I'm reading this wrong. So if node env does not exist, then it does nothing. And then if node env is not production, and node env isn't production, if node env doesn't exist, then it just does npm install. So even if we didn't set dev mode, this is like the weirdest thing. If we set node env equals anything, it will do all the other stuff. So we actually didn't even need to set dev mode. Like I don't understand, whoever wrote this, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you were thinking, but this is just I don't understand here.
Yeah.
Set dev mode to false by default. Export dev mode false. Then if node env exists, if dev mode was true, then set node env to development. What? Why not just honor node env in the first place? Like, So I guess you can leave dev mode equals true,
I'll
and you
just
can
add node env
set
equals
node env
development.
to
Yeah.
development, and that should probably work.
All right, I'm committing it right now.
Okay.
So
Is there a way, Jafar, to do webhooks with Tecton?
what do you mean, like when you commit and it reveals?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can add the trigger. But
where do I do that?
I think it should have created one by default, but let's check. So go to the pipeline, SRT web client.
I pushed it, by the way, that change.
Cool.
So yeah, go to edit triggers, add trigger,
Yeah.
and then you can change like the git push. So yeah, just select the right.
I'm assuming git revision is the branch.
Yeah.
So then this should be all that's required, right?
Yeah, it should be fine. And then it's
So
gonna
how
give
does
you,
it?
it's gonna give you a route,
It's gonna give me a route.
which is the webhook. But since you are in tech preview, I actually forgot what it did. Yeah, so that's there. You have the event listener, which is
this one.
Yeah, the copy the route you have there. And just put it as your webhook URL.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I mean, I guess I can do it, but. Nothing says security like an HTTP webhook.
Exactly, but just put the payload as JSON.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Is there a way to test it?
Yeah, so it should have.
It just did a delivery.
Yeah,
It just did it.
Exactly.
Oh,
And check the
approachable is
response.
better than simple, according to Zen. All right, pipelines. We should
check
see
the
it.
response.
What?
Yeah, just check the
What?
response to see if it was fine.
It looked like it was fine.
Just go up, no, because this
But
is
it didn't.
the
But it
payload.
didn't.
Check the tab.
Oh,
tab.
202. I don't know what 202 means.
Yeah, so that's good. And now your pipeline should be running actually.
It's not. It wasn't.
Okay, so it didn't trigger it. Okay. All right, so try a push and see if it works.
Yeah, because I think this request is not a full.
Yeah, maybe
one.
it's like a dummy one.
Oh, or maybe it's not on the branch, I think is the thing. So it's a push event, but it wasn't on the branch, so the pipeline didn't care.
Okay.
So I guess if you do like an empty commit or something. Push
okay.
it.
Okay. I mean, I did just push that change for the node m equals dev.
Yeah, but that was
push?
before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
you're
before,
testing the webhook. Got it. I'll just change the
Yeah.
description of the package JSON.
Change the review.
Yeah. Okay.
Now with more hook.
Yeah. All right, done.
Ah, doing it. Things. I seen it. All right, here we go. Clone. Build. Yeah, baby. Generate. So node 14.
Hopefully we'll see
Chugga.
the gulp build coming up.
Yeah.
So did you change anything to make to have the Go stuff working?
Well, we put the node env equals development in the environment file,
Okay.
which should trigger the logic
Should.
gates correctly. Yeah.
The logic rodeo, that
Yeah.
is the assemble file.
Oh, it did
Node
see
env,
that? It did
development
get
mode
that?
true.
Nice, nice.
Copy the source. Run the chown.
So
User. Assemble.
Building application from,
and actually you can there's a nice
I think that's the wrong one.
you can use also, which is in the assemble, you have pre-assemble and post-assemble stuff that you can do also. Like if you don't want to copy the overall assemble file, there are hooks that you can use to do stuff before or after. And then just call the assemble script, whatever you want.
Okay, it ran npm install. I don't think it went through the right flow. Even though it said node env development, like it actually echoed that, like the node env is equal development. Dev mode is equal to true. So how is it, wait, if node env is not equal to production? Oh, actually it says if node env is not equal, maybe we had it, like go back to that. Actually, I think it will go into that first one. If node env is not equal to production, it just says npm install. So that is, we actually, what the heck? Okay, hold on.
I had it backwards.
Yeah, so maybe it should be production. Because if we say node env is not equal to production, then and set it to dev, then it's just gonna npm install.
Yeah, this file looks like it's backwards on a couple things.
Yeah, so it should be node env equals production.
No.
Okay,
because-
well, we have a webhook.
Yeah, I'll just change it.
Oh yeah.
But what should dev mode be, or
really
does it
weird.
matter?
Why?
Or does
Why
it
would you
matter at
do
all?
this? This is so weird.
Like dev mode, can you, what it will change if it's in dev mode, does it change anything?
Nothing.
I guess dev mode doesn't really come into play after that.
No.
Okay, then I'll just actually remove dev mode from that. Say node env equals for
Yeah,
production.
I don't think this is.
Okay. It's weird. Okay. Okay. Command push.
So let's see. Dash Z
Okay, it's done.
is if the length of the string is 0.
So
So
not defined.
all I think this does is it would set. So if this is so weird, if you were in dev mode,
It would.
so
It's
I don't even understand.
It's initiating.
So
it looks like it's
if the node if the node env is set, if the node env is set, but it's overriding it. So if node env is already set and non-zero length, then check dev mode. If dev mode is true, ignore node env and re-export it as development. Otherwise, if dev mode is not true, if it's anything else, ignore node env and re-export node env as production. Okay, but then if node env is production, it just does an npm install. This is like the
If node
weird,
env
I
is-
just don't even understand.
No,
what
no,
that's
if
supposed to
nodem
do.
is not
Like,
equal to production, it does an npm install. node-
oh, right. Sorry. Yeah.
So
So,
I just,
so basically, no matter what you set node env to, if you set dev mode also,
it's gonna.
you're going
force
to end
it
up in. I don't understand why you would write it that way. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever. All right, let's try. Let's look at the next pipeline run.
So now that
it
we spent 20
ran-
minutes on
I-
code
I
review.
Get that logic a while ago, and
Dude, hey, look at that. Gulp.
Oh, that's the gulp output. Yeah. And it did do a prod build because it said it did a prod.
Mother of
Cool.
God.
Cool. So it ran gulp. So now if you went into
Cool.
the terminal on that pod, you should see a
Well, it's
dist
still got to
folder,
build
right?
the image and then push the image.
Yeah. But then you would see a dist folder in there, like at the end.
Cool.
Okay, so now I guess the
Deploy,
last thing I'm gonna
okay.
do, maybe we can get this in the last 5 minutes is add an npm start that runs HTTPD and.
I thought you already did that.
No, I didn't do that yet. That's
You didn't do that. So what's
I
it going to
didn't-
do when it deploys?
nothing, like,
nothing.
cause we were,
Nothing. That's
I
no
mean,
good.
I guess it might try
Is
to
this the new
start.
one?
It's gonna do a node run dev because that's the npm start.
It does run build dev, which is the default, which blows up because gulp's not found.
Yeah, so it rebuilds stuff within the runtime.
Yeah, that's no bueno. Interestingly, when you create that webhook, this blows my mind. It deploys a pod with a route and a service to act as the trigger for the pipeline. Like that's weird. I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense, but it's also
and-
weird.
And actually, my next Tecton show is going to be exactly on this topic, like explaining what exactly happens.
Tecton show.
So yeah, so basically you have stuff that defines what parameters get extracted from the payload to be sent to run the pipeline run, and that's what we're going to explain.
Cool.
Do we wanna, I don't know, is this, how long does the stream last? Like,
We got like
We can go if we've till 4, 3, whatever.
Yeah.
The end of the hour.
okay,
Things and stuff.
so. I need to start a server here.
Oh, OpenShift is live on Twitch.
look at that. Who would have known?
That's crazy.
All right, us. We would have known. I'm just sitting over here writing mouse code.
Mouse code?
Well, tap and click and stuff
For
for the user interface, be able to direct the ship around to translate directional controls from taps or whatever,
oh,
or
cool.
a virtual joystick.
Yeah, phaser virtual joystick.
I mean, that might be more interesting for the last few minutes.
I don't have
the
anything
stream.
working, man.
No, I think it's more interesting to listen to Jared type.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm gonna have to do actually
We're
for
just,
this.
we're just waiting for you to push, man.
Come on, no pressure. No,
So let's see, if we look at the run will, okay, echo environment, dev mode, node env. If dev mode's true, which it's not, otherwise it does npm run d, whatever npm run is.
oh, it runs it as a daemon,
So Eric, I'm gonna share with you an assemble script. Can you load it in the screen?
Maybe.
In the chat.
If the official Docker Hub node image is used, skip the SCL and just run the server. Run node. If node env is not set by the user, then node env is determined by whether the container is run in development mode. So we don't have, do we have node env set or do we not have node env set? I can't remember.
We have node
can
env
look.
set
I don't have to
is
ask.
set to production. Yeah. Yeah, we do.
All right, so node env is set to production. So if I look at the run script, if node env is set, if dead mode is true, it's not, export node env equals production, that's fine. Then we do a run node.
Which is a
No,
function.
So run node says, if dev mode is true, which it's not, then npm run -d, whatever npm run is, but where does npm run get set?
Good question. Must be
npm run
higher
doesn't
up in
get set
the.
anywhere.
So npm run is actually an environment variable that you can put in your container in your deployment. If you want.
What is the?
There must be a default.
If you
though,
just do
like-
npm run -d, there's a default, right?
Maybe
I
it's
assume there's some default.
probably just start. I bet.
Yeah.
I can just try it here.
Yeah, because
No.
that variable is if you want to override it, like instead of having npm start, you want something else. You just put that npm_run
I-
to the deployment and
Yeah.
put whatever goal you want there.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna do npm start. Like if you don't define anything, it'll just npm start as a daemon. And I think that'll just,
If I do npm run -d,
it shows you the options.
yeah,
But I bet like, is it,
interesting.
I think
But it
that
did something.
I think that npm run is probably getting exported earlier on in the whole S2I flow.
In the S2I flow?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's not set here. Dev mode false, node env production.
well, okay, but if someone is just gonna make a push out a node app, like the default is gonna be like without any changes, the default, it'll just run npm start. And I know it does that, like
Yeah.
from other projects, like, so we shouldn't have to define
Launching
npm
via
run anywhere to
NPM.
make it do npm start.
Launching via npm. Yeah, well, I just wonder where it's getting npm run from.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Could it
Check
be
the
in the,
run. Check the run. Were you already?
Let's check the Docker file. npm run start.
yeah, there.
Okay, so you just need to make start do whatever we need it to do.
We need to make start. I need to think of like, the best way of starting up an HTTP server, either through a command in npm.
Why can't you just have it do whatever the debuggy garbage is that we do now without the live reload or whatever?
Okay.
That's a server.
Yeah, it's gonna run on a random port.
I mean, if we're
like,
going for hack
does it-
job, I mean, go full
Yeah.
full hack
go
job.
full hack job. Okay, so npm, so what it does
actually,
is,
if you run it exactly the way it was set up, all it's gonna do is start on port 3000. So to make it work,
It's not doing that.
what?
It's not what it's doing. It's not what it's doing.
No. That's if you start like the browser sync stuff, like the.
but this is, that's gone now, because we're using gulp.
It's
Like,
not. It's not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's been
Start is
completely
doing build
removed.
dev.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so what it's doing now in gulp is it runs a serve function, which runs, it's still browser sync, like, but it's starting up through gulp, so it runs, and it
So-
runs it on a port, like, does it matter, like, can we just? does it-
Yeah, but gulp. But so here's the thing. So start is doing run build dev. Build
Mhm.
dev is doing gulp build watch serve.
Yep.
So my assumption is that all we want to do is serve.
Yeah, exactly. So what we could do is make npm start just.
So you could
run
just change
serve.
start to be gulp serve.
Yep, yeah, but my question is it's gonna start it on a weird, I think it's gonna start it on port 3002.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, as long as that.
Doesn't matter. We can
change, adjust.
Yeah, we
for
can fix
that,
the
then it's
service.
fine. Okay.
Yeah, you can change the service to that port.
Okay,
afterwards.
so let me change the package JSON to make npm start just to run serve. That's all we really need to
So
do.
just one thing, are you wanting to change the runtime or the build time?
No.
Which one?
We're changing run, but we're changing it in our repo. We don't have to do anything to the existing script.
Yeah, one thing. Do you want to change the target in the build image or in the run image?
No. Neither.
Yeah.
We're changing it in the package JSON to just make npm.
Package.json.
Yeah, npm
Yeah.
start is gonna just start. It's gonna run the serve thing, which is gonna run gulp serve.
If
which
you
is
want,
another thing.
what I mean is, if you want to check that it's gonna work, you can just change the npm run command in the image that you already have, and check if it's.
That's what we're doing. What?
Without like rebuilding
Change it
code
in the
stuff.
image we already have?
Yeah,
You mean change the deployment?
you actually have a deployment. If you just change the npm run environment there and do gulp serve as the value of it, and check that it works. You don't have to rebuild like just to change the package JSON npm start command.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So I gotta go to topology, and then I gotta go to here, and then I gotta open the deployment, and then I gotta go to environment, and then I gotta override npm
Yeah.
run with serve.
Gulp serve, I think. Yeah, serve, exactly.
Deployment.
I got my commit ready to go. If you want me to push it or not.
Still not working, Jafar. Yeah, go ahead and do your commit, sir.
Okay.
So
Oh, gulp's not installed. Damn
Done.
it.
So we took the command.
Yeah, but gulp's not in the end image.
So what you can
The
try.
gulp serve won't work.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean the npm. So in npm install installs the dev dependency, so gulp will be there when it tries to.
Oh, but only
start.
in the image where the build is run. It doesn't commit that stuff,
Oh,
if that makes any sense.
yes.
oh.
So
So we still need to do. It's like we need to do another npm install.
Or we just
like
make
so
npm or we just make npm start run a something that's not a dev dependency to start up an HTTP server on that.
Well, or
with
you
that
make gulp a prod dependency.
We make gulp a prod dependency, which is
one question: what's your
really hacky. Yeah.
What's your JavaScript entry point file there?
The JavaScript entry
What?
point is
Yeah.
Well-
Do you have like a root JS file?
yeah, it's index.html
No.
in the dist folder.
Okay. So there's no index.
We can totally blame Jafar for this because he's the one that sent us down this, like, just do it with Node.js.
I have an idea. I have an
No,
idea.
I'm actually out of this.
I have an idea. I'm gonna try.
What you can do is actually, if you change the serve command, do npm install gulp and gulp serve. It's gonna work.
Yeah, because that's just sexy as hell.
Let me see if this works. Hey, that works. Okay, I have a very kind of hacky idea, which I'm gonna
All
try
right, man,
pushing
commit
right
it.
now. Okay.
Push it.
All right,
Do
and
it-
this
do it
is what
live.
all right. So, what I will actually have to do is, but I have to do one other thing before I do this, which is a local dependency for HTTP. Hold on. So there's an HTTP server that you can install with npm that you can just start with in any directory, just type HTTP server. So I'm just going to cd into the dist folder and run that command. Let's see if that
Nice.
works. But I add that as a dependency real quick. Okay, and then I just need to go here and say,
The only
yeah, HTTP server min HTTP server. Okay. Copy path and almost ready. Node module. So this is, oh, hold on. Let me think about this for a second. Because this is, oh, there will be a disk. Okay, this actually still might work. Okay, this might work. We're just gonna have to try it and see.
If we were doing real GitOps, we would build dist and then commit that to like a dist branch in the same repo. And then that would cause a webhook trigger to do an HTTP build of the dist assets.
Yeah,
That would be
all right.
that would
I'm
be the
gonna-
GitOpsy way to do it.
We'll try this and see if it works.
and you know that you can actually do that also in the pipeline, because if you commit the diff to your Git repo, then you can do an S2I HTTPD build.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I mean in the pipeline.
Okay, I pushed. So
Yeah, that's what I
webhook
just
should-
said.
Yeah, but you said
Yeah,
GitOps.
it fired.
GitOps is not pipeline size. I was thinking like you were referring to Argo CD or something like that.
All right, so
No, I said a GitOps approach.
And in the GitOps,
What did you change? Try HTTP server. What is this? Let's see.
so I
Try
added a
HTTP
dependency,
server.
added a local dependency for a simple HTTP server.
npm run serve and HTTP server. Yep.
And then it's just gonna change it's just gonna go into the dist folder and start that server
CD
up.
dist and then run it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if it works.
and what port is it gonna use?
By default, that service runs on 8081.
We'll find it.
8081 is the default.
We'll see. Hopefully it'll tell us what it's
And
doing.
I wonder if it actually, yeah, I think it's just 8081 by default.
So I can on npm JS has node-HTTP server, but it doesn't have HTTP server.
Yeah, but I think you have to put that in the code, like you have to encompass.
HTTP server. Here we go. Published a year ago. Whoa, it's got a turtle with a rocket strapped onto it.
Okay, the port actually, I think it
That's
starts at
cool.
8080 and it increments if a port is in use. So like if 8080 is in use,
Yep,
it uses
says
8081.
8080.
So if it's
Yeah.
8080, then you're good to go, because
Yeah.
Nope, I already changed the service.
Oh, you change it?
Yep, gotta change it back. Oh, why does it look like it? Edit service. Oh, it didn't. Whatever change I made didn't stick, so
Didn't persist.
guess we're all right. Nope.
So
Nope. Web client, pipeline runs. running,
It's building still.
watching paint dry. Oh, I should probably look at the logs. Hey, built. Oh, temp is not a mount point. In case you were wondering.
So that's the
All
build
right,
logs.
deploy
Okay.
worked. And hey, it has not crashed yet, which is a very good sign. Starting an HTTP
Oh,
server
it did
on
start a
8080.
server.
All right, so we have a service for the web client.
Amazing.
Do we have a route for the web client? We do have a route for the web client, but this is
So,
going to throw all kinds of shitty errors
But does it-
because
Oh, but we have the background. That's like a big deal, right? Like that means at least that the HTTP
Yeah,
server is working, right?
you need
Because
to
it's
focus
loading assets.
the broker endpoint.
Oh God, sound.
Yeah.
Stop
Okay.
the sound. Ah.
Okay. So the assets loaded, and the HTTP server is serving them. So that's good. So that works.
So Eric, I think now you need to change the like the broker endpoint in the config.js file
Oh,
to
You might-
whatever value we want for the broker, right?
the game client just destroyed his computer again, I think. All right.
Instantly.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Well, I mean, we got the web client building and deploying and running. Well, that's good. But, it's not configured, right? Because it's not going to be pointing at the right broker or anything
Yeah.
until we add like a config map and stuff for it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we'd have to inject the config file.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I
Cool.
would say today was highly successful, far more successful than we normally are.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I guess we'll call it a day then. Stop my screen share here. So thanks much to our special guest, Jafar, for helping us lose our sanity with Node.js and pipelines and building C++ applications with with OpenShift. But yeah, that's it for this month. And so maybe next month we will go back to doing more sort of actual game dev stuff. What I was hoping to get to today was to actually get the web client running enough so that we could share it to have a bunch of people try to play it, since it'd be running on OpenShift at that point. We could all interact with it, but we'll have to save that for next month.
Yeah.
We could do a load test of like
I will.
That's
all
great
of our
idea.
I will.
stuff.
I'll make an issue for myself to make an actual server and not just the hacky. That's like a local dev server, so I'll make it better.
Yeah, so
That's boring. It's
so
good enough for production for now.
Yeah.
if you do a multi-stage build from the HTTPD image, it should be fairly easy.
Cool. Right on.
Cool beans. All right.
All right.
Cheers,
All right,
everyone.
cool. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.